back to the Back to Me podcast. You know what we do here. We let go of everything we are not so we can be all we are meant to be. We can get back to our highest good and greatest joy. Today, I want to talk about how, a lot of people don't take the action they should take, or that I wouldn't even say they should take, that they want to take because they make it so much bigger than themselves at the beginning. And the message today is really everything is figure outable. Everything is figure outable. And so many people don't take the action because they haven't figured it out yet. Now, I talk a lot about being a visionary. It's something I learned from a mentor very early on. You want to be a visionary, not a realist. And the difference between a visionary and a realist is a visionary says yes first and figures it out later, whereas a realist wants to figure everything out before they say yes. And what I want to encourage you today is I want you to really focus on, and I want this to be a theme for you for 2025, is I want you to trust yourself enough to say yes to the things that you feel in your heart are meant for you. I want you to trust yourself to say yes, and I want you to trust yourself to be able to figure it out as you go along. Because everything is figure it outable. Okay? That's my new word. Figure it outable. Because everything is figure outable. Everything is figure outable. Everything. There's nothing that's not figure outable. In fact, you've figured out everything that you've ever had to figure out your whole life. That's why you're still here. That's why you are where you are. You had challenges in your relationship, you figured it out. You had challenges with your children, you figured it out. You had challenges with your job, you figured it out. You had challenges with money, you figured it out. You had challenges with your health, you figured it out. You had challenges with your friends, you figured it out. You figured everything out. But yet you limit yourself for what you could figure out of things you want from your heart. You figured out the things that you arrived at from your fear, from your doubt, from your lack of action, or from the misdirection, the wrong action, because everything is perfect. There's nothing wrong. You're always going to get to where you need to get to. But just how quick you get there and how much you suffer on the way is up to you. That's the free will part. But we're not very good at figuring out or trusting ourselves to make a decision to go towards the thing we want because we think we can't figure it out. Because we make it bigger than ourselves. We make it too big. We assign a difficulty before we start. We put it out in front as this is going to be huge. And some people, like me, get excited about that. This is going to be huge. Oh my God, I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Like when I decided to run a marathon, when I decided to work for myself, when I decided to launch a new program, whenever I come up with some new offer for my clients, this is going to be huge. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. When I launched Back to Me, I didn't know how I was going to do it. First day of the Back to Me call, these visionaries who joined me, I said, guys, I'm here with you. I don't know how we're going to do what we're going to do. I just know we need to do it. And these miracle people who came and joined me on that journey, wow, amazing. So that's a muscle I've been working my whole life since I was 16 when I went to Tenerife doing a commission-only sales job with no salary, no guarantee of anything, completely blind, not knowing who I was going to, where I was going to stay, and nothing. Just trusting a friend of an uncle of a guy who I knew. So there's a certain amount of courage you need to be like this, to be a visionary, to say yes first, to figure it out later. But I want you to recognize in yourself all the things you figured out. To understand everything is figure outable. Everything. And it mightn't always go perfect or how you think you want it, but listen to that episode about don't pursue your perceived success. The success you perceive you want, you think you want, superficially. Find out the bigger mission, God's mission for you, God's plan for you. Find that out. When you move towards that, in that direction, guess what happens? You figure everything out that needs to be figured out because it's in your heart, it's in your purpose, it's programmed into your DNA to move in that direction. But because you haven't been falling in love with truth, because you haven't been trusting yourself, relying on yourself, making yourself bigger than the thing, you don't even take action. Some of you don't want to learn a language because you think it's bigger. You don't want to learn an instrument, you think it's bigger. You don't want to move country because you think it's bigger. You don't want to leave your job because you think being an entrepreneur is bigger than you. You don't want to create a new offer for your clients because you think maybe it's bigger than you. You don't want to go up and talk to that person because you think they're bigger than you, that you're too small, that you're not enough, that you're not good enough. So today's a wake-up call. It's a reminder that you figured everything out up to this point, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But there's so many things you're not going after, so many of your dreams you're not pursuing, so much of the vision in your heart that God has put in your heart that you're not taking action on because you think, I don't know the answer. I can't see the whole path. I haven't figured it out. You don't think you have enough. So because you don't think you have enough, you end up not revealing what you actually have, not using what you actually already have. So you play small with what you have because you've played big with what you don't have, or what you perceive you don't have, or what you believe you don't have. Because the word lie is in your beliefs. Because the beliefs are the stories you've told yourself so often, the paths you've walked down so much mentally and in imagination and emotionally that you think that's me, that's home. It's not home, it's not you. They're just paths you've lived on, paths you've walked. There's 100 ways to get to your house, but you go the way you always go. But some paths aren't the right way. It's just the way you're familiar with, that you feel safest with, that you know, that you recognize. So let me say that again. I want you to pause, go back, listen to that again. You play small what you do have because of your judgment and fear and commentary and assumption of what you don't have. You make bigger what you don't have and you play smaller what you do have. And that's why you're stuck. That's even why some of you won't go after the person, the job, the dream. Why some of you stay with the person, the job, and the nightmare. So sometimes I'm just honestly a poet, like honestly. Like I genuinely have these realizations. I'm honest. I just love these moments. I give all credit to God, like, because it comes through me. It's not from me. It comes through me. That's all I can say. But you have to use what you have until you get what you want, until you figure out how to get more. You have to use what you have. You have enough. You are enough. You're more than enough. You've just forgotten. And that's why this back to me journey is so important. And that's why you have to listen to all the episodes, every episode, so you can get back to you. So you can finally make big what is you, so it'll make small what everything you don't have yet. And some things are not meant for you. And the things that, funnily enough, the things that aren't meant for you, sometimes they're shinier and they're glossier and you think you can do it. They're more attractive up front. You can see it. That's why the world is so good at marketing. And it makes you want that shiny thing. So you figure it out. Like some of you couldn't afford the car you have, but you figured it out because it's so shiny and complete in front of you. Some of you couldn't afford a house, but you figured it out. Some of you couldn't even afford the iPhone or the MacBook, but you figured it out. Some of you have watches on you couldn't afford, but you figured it out. Why was that figure outable, but your dream isn't figure outable? Your dream person isn't figure outable. Moving country isn't figure outable. Starting your own business isn't figure outable. Why? Because you don't see the whole picture yet. You only have a vision in your heart. Even though the picture is in your heart, you don't do the work necessary to dive deep in, to seek it and find the answer and find what it looks like. You don't know what your dream looked like. I'm getting chills. Hallelujah. Because I'm telling you, I'm always talking about your vision for years. Your vision, your vision, your vision. How many times in this podcast have you heard me talk about your vision? That's the full picture. You've heard me say it, right? Your goals are the pixels in the screen of your vision. Your vision is the full completed jigsaw. You don't have it all together because you don't spend time looking at the vision. You have the idea of what you think you want, which you believe, because you don't spend any time actually in discovery mode, in exploration mode. You stay in commentary mode, assumption mode, conclusion mode. And you spend your energy looking at the thing the world shows you as a full picture that's shiny and sexy and attractive and you think you want. The car, the watch, the house, the clothes, the holiday. The fucking holiday. If I see more people sharing competitions to win a holiday and they don't share friends' business, they don't share friends' events, they don't, mine included. I have friends and family who call themselves friends and family. They don't share when I do a big event, but they share a chance to win a flight somewhere. Share this post and tag 3 friends. But they don't share this podcast that's for free, that's helping people wake up and find themselves and accept themselves and love themselves. And it's the same for you. I know they're not sharing it for you. They're not sharing it for me. And I don't think I'm the only one. I don't think I'm an exception here. I think this is the rule. People share on bloody holidays and win the car and win the facial and win the trip and win the flights and the tickets to the game and the tickets to the concert. But you don't share the love and the truth and the clarity and the wisdom. Because the world tells you this is more important. Yeah, watch those 30 millionaires there. You see those 22 millionaires on the field, yeah, watch them every week. No, really, watch those millionaires and the billionaires who own the teams, watch them. And all those influencers and Instagrammers and social media and Kardashians and reality TV, all those millionaires, watch them. Spend all your time watching. Yeah, watch. Keep watching. No, watch and listen, yeah. Watch, listen, and share their stuff. Yeah, absolutely. No. Don't invest in yourself. Don't create your own product, your own service, your own offer. Don't create your own offer. Don't create freedom for you. Share their stuff. Yeah. No, share their stuff. Watch their games. Watch their channel. No, you don't create anything. Who's that telling you? Is that God or is that the devil? I think it's pretty obvious. Is that your heart, love, and truth, or is it fear, doubt, insecurity, and lies? No, but we should know what's going on. We should support our team. Our team. What about your team? Team you. What about your family? I believe in supporting your county, your city, your country. But what about your team? You're part of your county, city, and country. Oh, we have to watch what our country's doing. Wear their jersey. Yeah, but what about your jersey? What about your household? You're a player in this game of life too. You're an owner in this game of life too. Man. And you want to just watch and be a watcher and be a consumer. And you share and you'll join in for that and you'll figure it out for them. And you won't figure it out for you. Who's foolish here? Who's foolish? Say me. Say me right now. Tap yourself, say me. I'm foolish, because you are. Of course you're foolish. Yes, you're a fool. Did Aidan just call me a fool? He did. Why? Okay, but is there truth to what he said? Yes, it's absolutely 100% true. Do I do that? Yes, I absolutely do. I figure things out that are figure-outable outside of myself, but I don't attempt to figure out what's figure-outable inside of myself. Yes, he's right. That's what I do. Is that foolish? That's foolish. Am I a fool? Yes, I'm a fool. And I'm a fool too. In lots of ways, I'm a fool too. But if we don't acknowledge I'm being foolish, and I'm not saying speak bad about yourself. I'll never say that. But sometimes you have to recognize I'm being foolish. When you hear it out loud, you're like, yeah, that's right. How many hours a day, hours a week do I spend in consumption mode of other people's dreams? I'm a participator. And again, in the last 10 years, so many people have woken up and have created their own dreams. That's why you watch their TikTok, you watch their YouTube. You're watching mine. It's great. I've finally woken up and you're following me on my YouTube. Great. But what about you? I'm here to wake you up for yours. A lot of others want to keep you asleep. Netflix wants you asleep, not awake, because you'll watch instead of create. YouTube, they all want you, they also want you to create because that brings more eyes to watch. But you have to want to watch, to create. You should only watch what will help you create. Most of my watching is help me create. See, amateurs and people who are asleep want to be entertained. Professionals, high performers, leaders, people who create in their life, they want to be educated. For me, my entertainment comes from education. I love some mindless entertainment as much as anybody, but I would definitely say the majority of things I consume are more educational or entertainment. But for me, they're entertainment because I get entertained by being educated. I love, because I know I've already unlocked it. I already know when I become more powerful, I become more powerful. When I learn, I become more powerful. Power is not a bad thing. You want power. Right now, some of you are powerless. That's why you don't feel so good. And you feel small. And you think it's not figure-outable. And it's figure-outable. You're just not effing figuring out the right stuff. You've fallen into the trap of figuring out other people's stuff. Following other people's figure-outables. Everyone else you're following has figured out how to figure out their figure-outables, and you haven't. You're a fan of that person. You're a fan who follows someone else who's figured out how to be figure-outable, and you haven't. Because of your illusion. And yes, I give you some leeway here because it's easier to follow someone else's stuff that's put together. It's easier to figure out the car, the house, the iPhone, the watch, all the things that are already pre-made and glossy and shiny, and you can see it. It's harder to figure out all the stuff that's buried inside you, but you're not, and the world doesn't help because it doesn't want you to figure this stuff out. It wants you to suffer and stay asleep. And when you're asleep, you're a sheep, and when you're a sheep, you follow. And then you follow everybody else, and then you get their stuff and buy their stuff. You think it's going to feed you. It's going to feed me. It's not feeding you. It's starving you. It's starving you of truth and of honesty and of love and awareness and clarity. It's not feeding you. It's an illusion. You've been lied to. The only thing that feeds you is your truth, your clarity, your awareness, your purpose, your mission, the reason God put you here. I'm telling you, it's the devil that's lying to you, telling you all that other shit is going to serve you. It doesn't serve you. And I see it time and time again. And we all have a version of it. I said it in the very first episode of this podcast. We're all on a spectrum of asleep to awake. There are certain areas where we're more awake, certain areas where we're more asleep. But I'm tired of you not being willing to figure out the things within yourself that are going to give you the clarity to create the treasures within you. Where your heart is, the treasure is. I mean, it said it 2,000 years ago. Where your heart is, your treasure is. But the world tries to show you this treasure and you go after it and it's not really treasure. It's an illusion. That's why it's empty. That's why the drink, the drugs, the sex, the food, all the things, the shopping, the complaining, the bitch in the morning, all the things you think you need is empty. Because there's no truth in it. There's no God in it. It's lies. And all your fulfillment is waiting. It's all within you. That's why you have to get back to who? Say it with me. Back to who? Back to me. Everything is figure outable and you have to figure some shit out. But you have to figure out the right things. You have to stop figuring out the things that aren't serving you. You're a master. When you go to your job, you figure stuff out, right? Some of you guys are like, yeah, I figure out all their problems, but you're not willing to figure out your stuff. Some of you guys don't even work on figuring out your relationship. It's just the way it is. You just settle. You settle for it. Some of you are nodding right now. Yeah, I've said neither of us are working on our marriage. Why not? Is that not worth figuring it out? That sacred union that you both dreamt of your whole life, prayed for, was the happiest in your life when you were asked, or when you asked or were asked, or when you said yes. And now you don't even care to figure it out. Your marriage isn't figured outable because it's not shiny and sexy enough. It's easier. The world has given you other things to look at, all these different offers and options on Instagram. Let's go figure that out instead. Let me get a job and figure someone else's stuff out. Let me trade my infinitely valuable limited time for someone else's limited money. Another lie you've been told. Let me give away my infinitely valuable time for someone else's money. Let me give away my infinitely valuable time watching 22 millionaires run around the field. Nothing wrong with it, guys, when you've your shit figured out. Nothing wrong with it. But if you're not where you want to be, you think, and you're like, I don't have time. So I don't get, when people come to me, they're ready to, because they listen to me. So by the time you're coming on a call with me, you're ready to work. But occasionally some slip through the net. And I get on calls. Oh God, I ask for that grace to recognize when people are going to waste my time. It doesn't happen much. And people say, oh, I just don't think I can take another thing on right now. I don't think I can take another thing on. Meanwhile, they're watching 20 hours of TV a week. They're on their phone 4 hours a day. There's literally 30 to 40 hours they're wasting. Oh, I can't take it. Now's not a good time. Well, I stopped getting mad about that a long time ago. God bless you. God bless you in your sleep state. It's time to wake up. Start changing what you place importance on. Now is the time. Beginning of a new year, you have to change what you place your importance on. Otherwise, you're going to make the same mistakes. I send an email out. If you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, I'll put the link in the description. I encourage you to sign up for my newsletter. Not very consistent, but I'm working on putting something in place that'll make it consistent. However, there's some absolute gold in there if I say it myself. And one of them was what I did with my Back to Me guys in a coaching program. It was a 2024 reflection. And I was explaining to guys, you have to swim in the pain for a while. You got to swim in the mistakes you made. You got to understand where you made them. You got to float around and dwell in the hurt so that you recognize it becomes visceral, that you don't want to stay there anymore, that you don't want to make the mistakes that got you into that thing in the first place. But what we don't do is we don't dwell in it. We just put it away. We deny it. We distract ourselves. And then we end up in repeat self-sabotaging cycle over and over and over and over again. I do it myself, so I know. That's why I'm so passionate about this stuff, because I'm with you. I'm not judging any of you. I'm with you in all of this. That's how I can talk about it all day. And why I recognize, and I've been obsessed for 20 years in figuring this out. That's why when I sit down with you, a new client, I figure it out. I know exactly your story in seconds. I can see it before you open your mouth. Because I've been obsessed about figuring out your stuff for the last 20 years. Because a lot of your stuff is my stuff. And my clients, between my stuff and my client's stuff, I've been figuring out your stuff. So I'm with you. We all have this to work through. But if you don't make a change. Now, if you don't reflect on what caused the hurt and where your hurt is, and you swim in it for a while and you allow yourself to feel, let it burn, and you sit with your heart open and you allow yourself to transmute it a little bit, you are going to make the same mistake again. You are going to place importance on the wrong things again. And that is not going to serve you. And that's pretty much what this episode is about. There's not much more to say. Only that, can you commit to things that are worth figuring out? Because you're able to figure things out. Can you figure out what needs to be figured out for your highest good and greatest joy? Not for other people. Not for what you think you should. Not for what your boss told you, your parents told you, your relationship. What is worth, ask this question to yourself. What is worth figuring out this year? What is worth figuring out? What do I need to do for myself? What is within me that I want to figure out? And what do I need to stop figuring out for other people and for stuff that's not for my highest good and greatest joy? Spend some time on that and your life will change. Your life will change more than you can imagine. If you forget every other episode and you do that, what we talked about today, your whole life's going to change. You are going to receive miracles. You are going to be blessed beyond belief, and you are going to be a blessing to so many other people. When you figure this out, you get creative within yourself. You can't help but connect with other people and contribute and give back. And you're going to grow, and you're going to help others grow, and everyone's going to grow, and everyone's going to win. There's no downside to this. When you figure out stuff that's outside of yourself for illusion, there's no upside. When you figure out what's in your heart, what's your truth, what's God's plan for you, what's your gift, when you figure that out, there's no downside. It's only win. You win beyond belief. And that's what I want from you. Win beyond belief. I'll see you in the next one.